Depression Baby. Stories about growing up in Appalachia and other things too. With my dad, Ray B. Rogers.
On August 16th, 1929, I came into this world kicking and screaming. I reckon that made me a Depression Baby.
Depression Baby is a World Songs media production. Brought to you by Depression Baby the Book, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover, and soon audiobook at raybrogers.com.
Christmas, circa 1930s. Should we say Merry Christmas, or should we say Happy Holidays? Should the words of Christmas carols be changed to make them politically correct? Christmas has definitely become more secular and more complicated. Christmas has evolved as our country has evolved. In the 1930s and 1940s, Christmas was simply Christmas. Sometime during the year, some family member would spot an evergreen tree out in the fields or up on some nearby mountain and make a mental note. That would make a good Christmas tree. Then, at the appropriate time, we just went out and cut our own little tree. There was no choice to be made, real or artificial. Real was always in. A lot of the decorations were homemade. Construction paper of red and green was cut in strips about 1/2 to 3/4 inches wide. Some paste was then made with flour and water, and then a chain was made by gluing the little circles made from the red and green paper, which was then draped around the tree. For variety, popcorn or some red berries found in the woods could be put on a string and also draped around the tree. A Star of Bethlehem might be tied to the top of the tree. Then little thin strips of metal foil or icicles were draped on the outer branches. The icicles were frugally saved when the tree was taken down to be used the next Christmas. Pretty simple, huh? But the children loved it. This was their tree because they made it happen. The stockings that were hung over the fireplace were real stockings. An orange or tangerine or two was always in the stockings. These fruits, so common today, were a luxury reserved mostly for the Christmas season. There might also be an apple or two, along with some English walnuts and Brazil nuts. There would also be candy found in the form of peppermint sticks or maybe even horehound or licorice flavors. There would be little chocolates formed in mounds similar to chocolates found in today's boxes of chocolates, and there were those delicious jellied orange slices. Dad's students always gave him his favorite candy, chocolate-covered cherries, which we helped him consume. There were chairs placed around the fireplace, and Santa designated one for each child. There might be a new shirt, or a sweater or other item of clothes for each child. One year Santa brought each of us little Indian moccasins for house shoes. These were really appreciated, for the floors were cold, there being no insulation or central heat. There might be a little doll for the girls, or some little game for the boys, or maybe a pocket knife. My sister Sarah, who taught herself to play the piano, would play some Christmas carols. A cherished memory is when our family gathered around the piano and sang those wonderful carols. We had some good singing voices in our family. Mother always made some fresh cookies for Santa, and these were always consumed by Santa along with a glass of milk. More evidence that he was real, and this was a symbol of our thanks to him. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Depression Baby. And if you did, my dad has one important request. If this podcast brought a little smile to your day, would you please consider right now subscribing for free to the podcast and kindly leaving a nice 5-star rating and review on iTunes. You can make the difference in getting Depression Baby in front of a wider audience and help preserve this disappearing legacy. If you need any help with how to subscribe to the podcast, just go to raybrogers.com and look for the podcast tab on the main menu. Thanks to our audio and musical contributors, including our friend Lobo Loco. You can find out more about him and all the rest of the music and audio in the show notes at, you guessed it, raybrogers.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Depression Baby.